Hey loves, it's your relationship coach, Jay Nell, and welcome to another episode of Response and React. Brittany Renner and PJ Washington's co-parenting struggle when bitterness clouds motherhood. This one is messy, but full of lessons because motherhood should never take a back seat to drama. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like and subscribe button. And if you're ready for deeper conversation, journal prompts, and interactive activities to help you date smarter and show up stronger as a mother and as a woman, join my exclusive coffee community.
Well, it looks like Brittany trying to secure her spot on Basketball Wives next season. Because why is you fighting with that man in front of them children? I'm going to ask because ain't nobody else asking. Brittany, did you pay the rent? Because at this point, you acting like the rent due. Now, Brittany, in the middle of an exchange with her baby father, PJ Washington, had gotten to this altercation. So I'm going to play the video for you here.
Okay, hold on, pause. This is what we're not doing. So every time that he does this, I'm going to record this. Because that's not okay. I'm just letting you know. No, the thing is, this is the third time he's done it. This is the third time he's done it. He doesn't want to go with you. So actually show up and do something then with him. Because he does this every time. No, it's not. No, it's not. It ain't because he got a baby's him. You gonna give him his bag and stuff?
That's terrible. 3 weeks in a row.
And it's up with me. Just know that it's up.
What'd you say?
I'd love to.
What'd you say?
I didn't stutter.
I didn't hear you say it again.
Suck my dick.
If you had one, maybe I would. Pussy ass
Hey, you
bitch.
wish I would, bitch.
Pussy ass. What the fuck you looking at? Get your bitch ass out my driveway, ho.
You don't pay for shit.
Fuck you. You don't pay for shit either. $170,000 to your hoe, but $11,000 in your son's bank account. $11,000 in your son's bank account, but $170 in that bitch. Get out the car. Get out.
First of all, I got a couple things to say. First of all, Brittany, get that camera out your baby's face. Why would you want the internet to see your child crying? And for two, do not equate children crying to a reason as to why you would deny them to see their other parent. That literally makes no sense. Because I'm pretty sure when your child is with their father, he's probably perfectly fine. And what I noticed that I think a lot of people had glossed over is that Brittany said her child cries every time the dad picks him up. She said specifically, it's been 3 weeks in a row. And then she tried to play it off and say, well, you don't spend any time with him. But that's funny. You just said he picked him up 3 weeks in a row. So is he spending time with him or is he not? Because in my personal opinion, it seems as though she's upset that he's actually abiding by his court-ordered visitation. Whether the child is building a bond with him while he's at home is really irrelevant. Seems as though he's there to pick him up on time every week. So what's the real issue? And then toward the end of the conversation, she starts talking about money. She said, well, you gave your girl $170,000, but your kid only has $11,000 in the bank. Keep in mind that that's a toddler. A toddler. I don't know too many toddlers with $11,000 in the bank. Mind you, that toddler still has to get to adult age of 18 plus 4 years for college. So starting off at less than 2 years old with $11,000 in the bank is pretty good in this economy. Now, I'm not too sure what's going on with Brittany, but if she's doing all this to get back on Basketball Wives, baby, you already got yourself a solidified spot. Ain't no need to put your child on the internet crying and screaming.
$170,000 to your wife, but $11,000 to your kid. Let's talk about it, girls. What we're seeing happen between Brittany and PJ Washington and his wife is textbook example of what so many of us are experiencing, whether we are the high conflict baby mama, whether we're the step mama, or even if we're just the father. Okay, let's unpack this. If you are Brittany or you are a woman who thinks that she was correct, I want to let you know that you are wrong and that she was wrong. I'm aware that as the viewers, we are only seeing a couple of seconds of this exchange. We don't know the context. We don't know the history. We do not know these people in real life, which is why my video is not going to be attacking Brittany or any of the individuals involved, but just to kind of give you a little pushback because this behavior is one embarrassing, and I do not think it speaks to the kind of women that we would like to be as mothers, as women, as daughters, as influencers, women with a platform. Anytime you are exchanging your child and you are meeting up, that needs to be done in good faith. Recording, antagonizing, having individuals a part of your village or your support system who you know are going to also antagonize and, unfortunately in this situation, be the main reason why conflict is occurring, probably should not be present. Children are a product of their environment. And so in this video, we're seeing this sweet, beautiful baby boy crying when the exchange happens. I want to preface this by saying this is normal. Kids are going to kid, okay? Toddlers will toddler. And when you assume positive intent with the other co-parent, it's easier to understand that transition is just that, transition. And because our tiny humans have not yet grown to a place where they're able to communicate what they're feeling, oftentimes those heavy, strong emotions are rooted and expressed through crying or tantrums that we all saw stopped the moment he got to the car. What did not help is them antagonizing PJ while he's holding his son, following him to the car after withholding the bag so that you were able to then see who was in the car, knowing that was going to upset you. Recording or having your mother record, and you know she about to cut up. She also was following you to the car and saying such crazy things that my mother would never say, might I add. Within seconds, we see that this conversation, this exchange is no longer about the child, and now emotions are being brought up by adults who have the responsibility of helping their child in this exchange, in this transition. So mamas, when you are doing an exchange and you're seeing that your child is worked up or they're getting emotional or they're starting to cry, good job. You're probably their safe place. That's to be expected. What you should not do is antagonize the situation by then screaming and hollering and pointing fingers as to why they're crying. When this has happened to me with my daughter, I leave. Because the crying stops. Like, I get it, girl. You love your mama. I love you too. You are still going with your daddy. You're going with your father. Once we see PJ has put this baby in the car, they don't stop antagonizing him. They are saying some crazy stuff. And so by the time he responds, I honestly applaud PJ and his wife because, one, she sat very pretty for a very long time until they directed that attention towards her. And also PJ for keeping his cool. Like, you can tell this is not nothing new, because the moment they started being weird at the front door, he just walked away. This is sad, okay? This is a sad exchange. But I do want to commend PJ and men like him who know when to walk away. Eventually, we do see PJ respond, but considering what they were saying and how they were taunting him, I can understand why that response was given. My only pushback is that no response is always the best response, especially when somebody is fixated on getting a response out of you. All of this stuff could have been avoided had PJ just buckled in his son, gotten in the car, and drove off. He said his first comment, they responded back, he got in the car, rolled up his window, then he rolls the window down, which I think invited an opportunity for energy to be directed towards his wife when he could have just pulled off. But within the spirit of giving grace and recognizing that this is not a normal thing that we as humans endure often, I can understand why all parties are reacting in this way, especially if we have unhealed trauma and things of that nature. And to his beautiful wife, Alicia, I hope I'm saying your name right, you ate with that. Okay, babe? You ate. You sat so pretty. And I don't think people understand the tension or the uncomfortability that happens when you are the wife of the man that has leveled up. Because this is when we get that comment, 140 or 170 more money than I have to his wife, as he should, by the way, compared to the 11K to his son, who's 4. I am an adult, and 11K is more than enough to take care of me and my daughter, if I'm being honest. A month? And y'all worried about what he's doing for his wife the moment he made covenant with her. She's priority, babe. She's priority. And you are not his responsibility. You as in Brittany or his mother or anybody. So women, when a man or when your BD moves on and he gets a wife and he has his own family in the home with him, they are the priority. And when you try to calculate his money, his pockets, or even hers, you're going to sign yourself up for a long journey of being angry, especially if you yourself do not have your own stability or a lifestyle that you're proud of, or if the lifestyle that you were used to was because of that man, and now this beautiful woman who's sitting pretty gets to benefit from that lifestyle. And let the record reflect that his wife is not someone who necessarily came up when she married him. If you know, you know. Our girl has been that girl, and our girl has her own money, which is often the case with a lot of women who are married to our BDs. These men don't have bad taste, and they're going to level up. And if you are sitting around angry, that's going to show up in exchanges like this. I support men taking care of their wives and taking care of their kids, and that's not going to be an equal thing, ever. And it honestly should not be. That is his wife. That's his wife. The woman that prays for him, prays over him, protects him, shows up for him. We ain't got to go into the interactions of how their covenant is, but let's just say that's his wife. And you're the baby mama. Sit in it. And when I say sit in it, I'm not saying carry that title with shame. I'm just saying carry that title with an understanding that you are going to have a different version of this man because you're not the one he made covenant with. And thank God, because look at how you're handling conflict. Look at how your mother is handling the conflict. This is unacceptable. Absolutely not. And all of this is happening while your child is in the back seat. So then my question is it really about your son? Mamas, is it really about our kids when we act this way? Absolutely not. I know when I have crashed out on my child's father in the past, it wasn't about my baby. And oftentimes it was in front of her because my pain, my anger, my unforgiveness clouds my ability to show up as a mother in my best self, or as my best self. Y'all know what I mean. Overall, this situation was completely avoidable. This did not have to happen. I really hope for the sake of this beautiful baby boy that they're able to figure out something. I would encourage Brittany to heal, first off. I would encourage her to no longer allow her mother or anybody else around her who she knows is going to antagonize the situation to be present for exchanges at all. I would encourage PJ's wife to continue to show up for him because you don't need to be silenced at all. You're his wife. Keep being his wife. And PJ, I applaud you for still showing up in spite of that conflict. That is not a normal thing to experience, and it's not one that you deserve. $11,000 is more than enough to take care of that beautiful baby boy that you and her created. More than enough. And I'm sure when he's with you, you're still doing more than that. So, yeah, this situation is sad. I just encourage women who see this video, who are also baby mamas, to really look inside yourself and realize that, like, you're not the priority. You had his child. Good job. Show up in motherhood how you see fit without being so worried about what he has going on, especially with his wife, who also is a single mother, who also can call the bluff on you. Come on, y'all.
The funniest thing about the whole Brittany Renner situation where she's beefing with her baby daddy is that I would be willing to bet that throughout the course of her career, if you can call it that, there was probably a many a men who were spending money on her that they could have been spending on their children, and that sort of behavior was never an issue with her until she found herself the baby mama. Now all of a sudden everybody needs to have their priorities in check. Now all of a sudden there's an issue with men spending money on hoes. Like, girl, please. You're sitting out here screaming at the top of your lungs that he spent $170,000 on his hoe, but there's only $11,000 in y'all's son's bank account. Meanwhile, that hoe is his wife that he's married to and has multiple children with, and the son who's only got $11,000 is 4. Not to mention the fact that word on the curb is he also allegedly pays $2,500 a month in child support. So $11,000 in a bank account, $2,500 a month in child support, and that's still not enough for a 4-year-old? Like, no, sis. I think what you meant to say was that it's not enough for you, because you cannot convince me you're not dipping into those funds. And then you're sitting out here trying to make this big spectacle about your son crying and trying to make it seem like your son's only crying because he has to go with his father, but then you also simultaneously made 0 attempts to soothe your son. And to be completely honest, I'm not making no accusations, this is just my opinion, but it kind of looked to me like Brittany and her mama were in that house riling that baby up before he even got there. Because believe it or not, babies and kids can tell when they're in like a tense, high stress situation. And so if you and your mama were already in the house getting hype and talking shit because you knew he was over there, I wouldn't be surprised if the baby started to cry. And a mother or a father or just a loved one in general who was genuinely concerned about the child being overwhelmed and worked up would have attempted to soothe said child. But you see, in my opinion, it didn't seem as though there was a genuine concern for the child being upset. There seemed to be a genuine concern in getting a video that you could post online to demonize this man, because what you're really upset about is the fact that he's providing his wife with the lifestyle that you thought you were going to get by having his baby. Because truthfully, it came across as though when you were convinced that you had found another way to secure the bag and secure the lifestyle by laying up under Kevin Gates cosplaying a conservative woman, you didn't seem to have an issue with the arrangement. But now that that situation's fell through, now all of a sudden you need to be online beefing with your baby daddy because he doesn't do enough and he doesn't provide enough money. It genuinely reminds me of that light-skinned girl, I can't even think of her name right now, but the baby's baby mama, the one that he put out on live, the one who made the whole song about how he liked her better because she was light-skinned and so on and so forth. Yeah, that bitch thought she was bigger than the program, and it is a hard pill to swallow when you realize that you were not.
Brittany Renner is a white mom biracial crash out. The thing is that these white women raise black children with the understanding of a white person, but not knowing that they show up every day in black bodies. So you can't think, behave, and act that way. And you don't know how to think, behave, or act because you're not tied to that culture. He don't owe you shit. And
when we really want to talk about it, a lot of times these white women think they own the rights to a black body because a black man is fucking on them, giving them black children. So you raise your black child to think like you, and she can't understand why this man don't want to pay her more money as paying his wife. That entitlement is screaming white audacity. You're not setting your children up for success by having that understanding, and you can never relate to them. That's why I call them biracial crash outs, because at some point those two understandings, those two ideals in their head are going to crash up against each other, and the world is going to have to deal with your choices as parents by raising these fucking people, these confused kids. That's why she walking around with a motherfucking hijab on. She's searching for a culture because she don't feel tied to any one of them. And that's the problem. It's not the money. Baby is just confused. She's confused.
$170,000 to your hoe and $11,000 in your son's bank account. The hoe in question is his wife. The son in question is 4 years old. I'm so sorry. That video going around with Brittany Renner and her mama causing trouble. I'm looking at the video like, y'all just wanted issues. You're recording, doing all this drama, talking about, pause. What we not gonna do. Girl, the baby is crying. That's normal. I ain't hear the cries as soon as that baby got in the car. What we talking about? And then your mama, ain't this the mama she was complaining about Basketball Wives? And why the mama in it? Like, I was looking at that video, I was like, Brittany Renner just seems bitter. The kid is taken care of. The kid, 4 years old, has $11,000 in his bank account. How much money did you want in his bank account at this age? What's he gonna do with that money right now? Oh, okay. And then the mama throwing shots at his wife. That's the wife. Maybe Brittany Renner should go marry, and maybe her man will give her $170,000. Okay? And ain't she supposed to be a Muslim? Or she dropped that already? Okay. Let's jump into my favorite part of all of the content I post on YouTube. And that's just my thoughts, where I get to kind of express what I feel about whatever we have read or gone over. So let's get into it. Let's jump into this one. I want to highlight some personal things about Brittany, and then I'm going to zoom out into the further lens of this co-parenting relationship that she has with PJ Washington. So to start, we have all seen Brittany Renner in, if you've been on social media, in urban spaces, the Shade Room, Boss Up, et cetera, she is a very pretty woman. And within the Black community, she has light skin privilege. She has pretty privilege. She also has a white mother. So she has been socialized and raised in a very different way than a biracial child with a Black mother. So she has been taught to be entitled to certain things as a part of her socialization and upbringing because of who her mother is. So I just want to highlight those points up front. So let's deep dive into this whole situation and foolishness that was caught on tape over the summer with a parenting exchange she had with her ex, her child's father, PJ Washington, and his wife. So all of that was a mess. It was a whole mess. You saw it in the clips. You heard the commentary. From just speaking on Brittany first. So let's zoom in. First of all, motherhood requires prioritizing the child over the conflict. So in this situation, she's recording her child crying and posting online. She's really exploiting their pain instead of really protecting them in this situation. A situation that her and her mammy created, let's be real. And then her mother's responsibility is to be the more mature person in the scenario and soothe and comfort and regulate a child, not to weaponize their emotions. Like, her mom should have come in and calmed that down instead of hyped it up. That's another thing that I thought was a little off. But then children also mirror the energy of their environment. Emotional regulation is a core part of motherhood, but it's a core part of effective parenting, okay? I'm not a parent, but guess what? I have some damn good ones. I have some wonderful parents. I was raised in a very healthy, loving household, and I know how to raise children. From what I have learned, what I know, and my mother being a teacher. So I know probably a lot more about raising kids than other people. But anyway, the yelling, the antagonizing, and inviting conflict is teaching a lot of just wrong messaging, okay? It was so ridiculous. And then they were coming at his wife in the clip. That was totally unnecessary. And she played her part very well. I mean, she did well to maintain her cool in such a situation, until they were trying to physically, come at her. But hats off to her for that, because that is not an easy situation. That's a very contentious situation to be in. Some other points I really like to highlight that I noted, just looking at this whole situation and this exchange that they had, is children really have to be protected from adult conflict. If you are in a co-parenting situation and you have a very contentious relationship with your ex, it's very acrimonious, it's very angry, there's a lot of raw, unhealed emotion there. You all have got to, it is the responsibility of you to work out how to put that aside in order to focus on your child having a very good view of you two getting along during their child rearing years. So, that co-parenting exchange was a mess. It should be, ideally, it should be handled in good faith, calmly, privately. It is for the child's stability. They may need to go forward and have it like at a police station or something, just because of where it's at right now. And then a lot of times I noticed that, bitterness can masquerade as concern. Bringing up money during an exchange shows that the conflict isn't truly about the child. Like when she was mentioning the money in the account, and the amount of money in the account for the child wasn't anything to sneeze at by most people's standards anyway. So, and then criticizing how a man provides for his wife versus his child reflects a lot of resentment on Brittany's part and not parenting. And I really wanted to post this because I think a lot of women are in co-parenting relationships with an ex, and even if the woman is not the aggressor, she is dealing, potentially with a man who's trying to nitpick at a situation and cause it to be something when it's not. And she needs to be mindful of that. And then when emotional pain or jealousy drives behavior, which can often be the time when you're in a relationship and then you're not, and a child is a product, so you still have this very real responsibility between you two, but you two aren't together, it clouds your judgment and it makes healthy co-parenting impossible. And I think that's what we're seeing right now. Brittany is really jealous of a lifestyle that she believes she could have had if she would antagonistic family members to an exchange. It only escalates the conflict. Her mammy didn't do nothing but, cause it to be more messy. Recording interactions to catch the other parent, that creates a lot of distrust and ongoing hostility. If you feel you have to do all of that, just go to a police station and handle the exchange, is my thought. And then each parent has to own their own role in there. Show up on time, de-escalate tension, and keep exchanges focused on the child. That did not happen here, as we clearly could see. A huge one is healing is key to healthy co-parenting. I do not believe that Brittany has given herself the time and the space to really work on her healing from her relationship with PJ Washington. And I did speak about entitlement earlier. I think that is part of it, but she had feelings for this man, whatever they were. And now that she is not with him, and now that he is married and there's no longer an option to be with him in a relationship capacity, she is dealing with a lot of, my guess is, conflicted and complex emotions. So she is responsible for working on her healing. And I believe he has a lot of unresolved anger toward her because she did target him when he was so young. And, they both have their stuff to work on. And it came out in this exchange, and it was really ugly. So unresolved anger, bitterness, or entitlement can create really high conflict cycles. And that's what it looks like they're entering into. Without healing, it just gets the pain. This is just going to keep getting projected onto the child and onto new partners, like it was with PJ's wife. And then moving forward, this is going to really require a lot of separating of personal grievances from parenting responsibilities. So on one hand, I really hope that they decide to go to like a counselor or a mediator that deals with these high conflict co-parenting situations, because I both feel they could benefit from strategies on how to do this successfully. And then on a separate note, I think it probably would be very helpful for PJ and his wife to go to counseling together to work on how they can stay as close partners and lockstep with one another in dealing with a high conflict, at the moment anyway, high conflict parent that is going to be a part of their lives. That's not optional. She's going to be there because they're co-parenting. PJ Washington and Brittany Renner are co-parenting. So the wife understands Brittany has to be around, but they need to figure out strategies as well on how to do this thing so their marriage stands the test of time. I'm sorry, y'all, I had to go in there. Some other things that came out for me as I was watching these clips is just like everybody has to understand their role. And I think that was a big thing that was missing here. Understanding roles and priorities in family dynamics. So a wife is a partner in a covenant relationship. That's what marriage is. A co-parent is a partner in raising a child. These roles are very different. And that realization is something that I think Brittany Renner really has to come to within herself in order, as a part of her own healing, in order to have a healthy co-parenting relationship with PJ Washington. And real talk, if they were on good terms, I highly doubt there would be a lot of things he would say no to if she needed money. If she was, working and doing her thing, but she needed something big or wanted something big, I highly doubt he would say no if they had a healthy relationship and even a friendship. And it seems very hard for that to be the situation right now. So, comparing what a man spends on his wife versus his child, it's a setup for resentment. Like resentment is one of the core messages I keep going back to here. They are not in the same category. And to, secure co-parenting means recognizing your role without entitlement to the benefits of another role. That right there is the mic drop. And I think Brittany Renner is struggling to handle that. So if you can identify yourself in any of this situation, either parts, is Brittany Renner, is PJ Washington the calm one, or the one that's getting turned up, please do some self-reflection. Please do some healing. So let me know your thoughts on it. Leave a comment and like below. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Response and React. Brittany Renner and PJ Washington's co-parenting struggle when bitterness clouds motherhood. At the end of the day, our children deserve peace, not conflict, and it's our responsibility as women and mothers to lead with healing instead of hurt. If you found today's breakdown valuable, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your voice matters in this conversation. And if you're ready to go deeper, join my exclusive coffee community. Inside, you'll find reflective prompts, coaching questions, and interactive activities that help you set boundaries, manage emotions, and show up as the best version of yourself in dating, relationships, and motherhood. For those looking for personalized guidance, the links for one-on-one coaching are below. Until next time, this is your relationship coach, Jay Nell, reminding you that real strength in motherhood is choosing peace over pettiness.